Alright, so we are here reviewing a game from Nexomania Development League.
Prepare for combat.
Here we've got Caden on Sylvanas, Peldor on Lucio, OldLady on Chromie, NotUnk on Blaze, and JudoChop on Yrel. Starting off, take a look at the draft here. Overall, I'd probably say I like Red's draft better just because of better ease of execution. Even though a Nubarak is good at diving, he can still very easily stun a front line, and Rain or Tychus can just kill them. Rhaegar's generally a good healer. Rainer's easy to play. Leo's easy to play. Uh, if both players are of intermediate skill, I'd say Leo wins versus Yrel on the point fight here. Yrel's generally pretty hard to play as an offlaner. She's good, but much more complex than Leo. How Yrel should play this fight, I have no idea. I have not seen this replay before. Yrel played well in this matchup. Whenever Leo lands Spooky Hand, she immediately DW, knock Leo back, run away, break the tether, and then jump in and continue the trade. But in general, she's a big target. She's slow, she slows herself. Leo can land Spooky Hand on her and trade very easily. Blazeman tank is awkward for a number of reasons. Biggest issue is he typically has a less reliable engage. His charge is slow, has a wind up, is easily interruptible, is powerful if it hits, but a Nubarak is much easier to charge. Nubarak has a much easier time engaging. That said, Blaze oil zoning on points is pretty powerful, and he definitely has more survivability to stay in than a noob does. Although against Tychus, no tank has a survivability to stay in. Rainer, of course, just very good at PvE. He can take all the waves and camps. What red team should be doing is they should have a new Rhaegar Tychus core who just roams around and gets kills. Rainer can handle everything else. Leo grabs top, sometimes mid. Very easy execution for them. The advantages for you guys is you have Lucio, who makes lots of tank fights miserable, especially a Nubarak, whose engage is a skill shot. Lucio's move speed makes it a lot harder to land that. Sylvanas is really strong in general on this map. She's great for getting down early forts and opening up the map for Dragon Knight. Chromie has really good poke and zoning for the shrine. Can also anchor really well. So I don't know how much you guys know about how to play Dragon Shire. Some of this will be pretty basic stuff, but so I apologize if it's repetitive for you. Typical Dragon Shire meta is you play a 1-3-1, you stick your offlaner top, you stick what's called an anchor bottom, who just catches the soak and is hard to kill. So in this case, you have Chromie, which is great for that. She can catch soak from very long range, and her traps give her vision, make her extremely hard to go to dive on. Then you have a 3-man that roughly sits mid. They can clear waves, and then once the mid wave's cleared, they have the opportunity to just rotate wherever they want. So in this case, for red team, they have a new Rhaegar Tychus. That can clear waves pretty quickly, and then they can say try and rotate down and jump on your Chromie, or rotate up and jump on your Yrel, or try and jump on your 3-man. Your 3-man here would, because Chromie's your anchor by default, you obviously be Blaze, Sylv, Lucio, who has the better rotation speed through Lucio, and Sylv enables pushes. If you go down, get a pick on their Rainer would be their anchor. You can turn that into a push very easily. But let's see how that plays out. I'll go over talents roughly as they're picked, but there are very few talents in this game that are absolutely do not pick ever. Some of them I'll disagree with, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're a bad pick. I just don't like them here. But I don't take away like, oh, Silver Spy person I barely know said this talent's trash, never pick it. There'll be some niche. There'll be some niche for a lot of them. Off the top of my head, none of Sylv has like one talent that is borderline unpickable, but everyone here has some variety of niche. Okay, so let's get into the game. I've talked a lot. We've got W on Chromie, fine. Why did the Banshee Queen? If you're going dive build, this is great. Standard auto attack build doesn't usually like Might of the Banshee Queen because when analyzing games at a high, even high level players tend to clip autos. Overwhelming Affliction is just guaranteed value. I'm not a huge fan of Party Mix as healer player. Usually one of the other two gets more value, but do what you're comfortable with. That's the other thing. Like even if a talent's not perfectly meta, if you're comfortable with it, that overrides meta. Adrenaline is fine. It's usually more of an offlane pick. Unless you're running main tank Yrel, which would be spicy. In that case, a lot of what I said previously turns on its head, but we'll see. As a tank, usually you want, I mean, anything besides the attack speed. Dauntless is fine. We'll see it.
2, 1.
I've talked for way too long. Let's just get into this.
Let the battle begin.
On their side, they've got the Exterminator Rainer, so of course you know that's going to be great PvE. I like this positioning, setting up in the bush. These guys are playing further back. You can even step up a bit more, just so when they step up, you can get a charge or whatever onto them. Get some oil, get some slows. Yeah, it's fine. Right. Getting some free damage on them. It's all fine. Your objective here is just to clear the wave as quickly as possible so that you can get to lanes. You're doing great. Tychus used his Q, so he's not using minigun. Who's hitting that? Okay, you're getting engaged on here. Things. They might just be dead. Really good stun to stop the Tychus minigun. Now just walk away. While his minigun's active. Alright. We didn't clear that minion, but it's fine. Okay, it is main tank place. Cool. Nice stun. But this stun doesn't do anything. Your team is not in a position to follow up. So overall, you've just used your only engage ability, and now you're much less of a threat for the next few seconds. And continuing the fight here doesn't really do anything, especially with Sylv all the way over here. Granted, their tank's up here, so they don't have much of a threat to you, but I just focus on clearing this wave, because here is a game of wave clear. Whoever clears the waves faster gets to do more, because they aren't stuck clearing waves. Well, you got some good damage, but it's all healed back up. Numissus is engaged. Mostly net neutral here. You guys cleared the way first, which is great. You got camps coming up in 6 seconds, so Sylv and Lucio are already getting in position for that. I like it. You don't need 2 DPS here. What you would ideally want is Blaze covers this for a bit, Chromie starts covering bot while these two do this. It's a general setup for any early camp clear here. The tank covering mid is ideal because that lets them rotate to wherever they need to be. Yeah, there's a wave here that Chromie could be catching. You don't need both DPS on this right now. It's fine. How's it been going here? I don't feel like rewinding. I'll take a look at this later, but I assume this is kind of just what happened. Leo managed to get W's on you and wins the trade off that. Black Arrows isn't necessary here. It's pretty trivial to dodge all the Siege Giant damage. Black Arrows does nothing, but it's also a low cooldown, so it doesn't really matter. And yeah, look, you see, Chromie's on camp, so you're about to miss an XP globe. Actually, yeah, you missed. One of them turned into a small one before you got there. You didn't miss much, though, so I'll give you that. I think you guys are gonna... They're slightly ahead on XP, but it's not a big issue. What's going on in mid lane? Kind of catching the soak. All right, at this point, after catching the camp, Sylv at the very least should rotate up and help to clear this mid wave. Blaze can clear it well, fine, but if Blaze is stuck clearing, you don't have a front line down here. Now, granted, they're also messing up, and they have their Anoop here. They should have their Rainer here, and the Anoop should be heading down. But Yeah. In general, you never want your tank stuck clearing waves. Even if it's Johanna and Blaze who can do it, if they're somewhere your team is not, they're fundamentally not doing what they should be doing as a tank, which is running for your team, grabbing vision, making space. Neither tank here is doing anything constructive for their team. If you put a Rainer and a Sylv or Chromie or whichever in this position, still the same thing. They're both still mid catching XP, but the tank is able to be a lot more effective with the team.
Capture the shrines. Inherit the Dragon Knight's power.
See, if either tank was here, they could go on people. Both are coming down at the same time. Yeah, okay. And the fact that Blaze has much better wave clear means that Anubarak is missing a ton of minions because he has to rotate when the Blaze does. This is a pretty big mess up for Red Team. By putting a new mid, they've lost like a wave and a half, unless someone rotates right now. Okay. Engaged by Anubarak, that did nothing. You get a stun. Everyone's in position. Let's see. I don't think you kill Noob. Okay, yeah, not much. Just not enough damage at the moment. Also, it hasn't been an issue yet, but generally, maintain or Blaze in general, engage pattern is you want to throw your W out first to slow your target, and then you E. Because just raw E with enough of with the cast time, it's not out of the question at all that the target just walks out either intentionally in reaction or just accidentally. W throwing out a 50% slow makes it a lot easier to land that E. Positioning here is kind of awkward, but so is theirs. Nothing terrible. Honestly, as Blaze, I just start throwing out some oil here, make some slows, force everyone to be in an awkward position. You can step up here. Anoob's out of mana. You guys have massive advantage on this shrine fight. They shouldn't be able to keep this shrine. Like someone should step on this shrine. All right, you got it. The amp it up did nothing, by the way. No one was injured. That's awkward. I think your Blaze wanted to engage on the noob, but you booped him out, and your Chromie time stopped you. Silver's a little bit behind here. I don't think you kill this guy, but we'll see. Yeah. Anoob's still very low on mana. You still win this. By the way, you guys have been missing. Mid soak for ages. I actually haven't been paying much attention here. I assume they have too, but oh god, yeah. I should be watching up here more. Actually, let's rewind a little bit and check out what's happening top lane. All right, so you're jumping in, and I assume he just lands a W and. Yeah. Yeah. Frankly, at this point, if you can't beat the Leoric, which is not painful at all, the burden of execution is on you by a lot. Yrel's a hard hero, and the Leoric has a pretty easy time into her unless the Yrel knows some advanced tricks. At this point, don't even bother fighting. You know your team has control of bot lane. What you can just do is clear the waves. And don't even try and fight over point. And you guys are missing a bunch of soak. The 44 area on bot lane is going in your favor right now, but you could be like a level up on these guys if you had someone up here grabbing soak. Both tanks are kind of out of resources right now anyway, so there's not much else that's going to happen. Alright, we got Blaze going to clear mid. Not awful because he's out of mana anyway. Again, it should be one of the DPS. On larger maps like this, if you're not going to rotate as 4, which you usually don't on this map, you really have your off lane, an anchor, and your core 3-man that rotates together. The off lane holds one lane, the anchor holds another, and then your 3-man is able to fight and do whatever they want. Sticking together as 4 only works if either your off laner or your 4-man is going to rotate. Because missing this soak is bad for both your teams. And like right now, you got 3 people standing around doing nothing. It only takes one person to clear this XP. All right, going for this. I don't hate it, especially since you see 3 mid. I actually like this play a lot. You're not going for it though. Lucio can get the blaze out. This could have been doing freezer camp, but it's not a huge loss here. Chromie's probably dead. Nope. Great peel by the... Unless the Rainer Q comes out. Yeah, okay. Let's take a look at this again. It was the Tychus grenade. Alright. So here we got Chromie stepping on the shrine to 1v1 Tychus. Tychus wins that just by default, because he can put out much more sustained damage than Chromie can. So already, this is kind of just... You guys are split up too much. These 3 want to go fight here and get Blaze out, but Chromie's fighting this Tychus. You need to all be on the same page. Alright, now we come down. And again, Chromie's stepping too far forward. Chromie has... Is Chromie, you have... I can't see it right now, but as Chromie, you have 7 auto attack range, I believe, and super high range on your abilities. You should always be on the back line. Now, granted, you are pretty far back at the moment, but this is going to be a problem as soon as a noob charges you. You need to be ready for a noob's charge. Play further back. Oh, I'm so sorry. I completely missed who got killed. I am so sorry. My bad. This is Lucio getting killed. Alright. Ignore everything I just said. I'm blind. Yeah, this is Lucio just running into the shrine and running straight into Noob's face where he gets a free impale. Still a positioning error, but I was talking about the wrong person for the last minute. Sorry, Chromie player, you did fine. There's a good reactive heal from the Blaze, but unfortunately the Tychus Grenade gets it. So yeah, Lucio's hard to position as because his trait encourages you to be aggressive, but you need to balance that out by not running into an impale like that. So now at this point, you've immediately lost someone and you didn't really get anything in exchange, so you just kind of back up here. You can have Chromie poke this stuff a bit. Again, you're missing Soak mid. This is probably your biggest issue right now, is the fact that both teams have been brawling 44 bot lane. If even one of you has someone going mid consistently, either the offlaner or one of your 4-man, you just get free XP up on the other team. They have Tychus catching it now, so they're going to hit 7 in pretty short order. And they get Cruiser Camp. There's not much you can do about it, because Blaze backed and you guys can't step up. At this point, Sylva's doing nothing. Like, yeah. If you ever find yourself in a position where you're just kind of sitting there doing nothing, look around the map and figure out what else you can do. So in this case, Chromie can do some poke damage, which is not super high impact, but it is something. I need someone down here to catch Soak anyway, but Sylv doesn't have the range to throw out that damage. She can't come and contest this camp. You can't step up and clear this wave, and then Chromie can clear anyway. So what else can you do? And that would be mid. You can go catch this Soak mid, and Blaze can rotate down. Sylv can anchor too. Just she typically is more flexible. She has a more flexible damage output than Chromie. Chromie has her vulnerability rotation. It's not super high burst, and she generally wants to poke from long range. Sylv can more reliably 100 to 0 someone over a longer period of time, but the fact that our auto attacks are powerful. Alright, let's take a look at that. So yeah. I think they just got this point, you can't stop it, and Tychus was already mid. And if Syl wasn't mid there, you could have stopped this already. And y'all can't contest point. So as of right now, the 2 big things I would say your team is losing out on is Yrel and Leo are just on their island up top here, except Yrel is losing. Yrel can't ever get this point. So you're functionally not a character here. You're not doing anything. you don't pose any threat to the red team at all. The only thing you're doing is staying top, and Leo counters that easily and wins. So you need to find something else to do, which could be something weird, could be rotating all the way down to try and find a fight. Could maybe be trying to do this camp. Yrel doesn't do it particularly fast, but my point is, if you're doing the same thing and you're losing, you need to find something else to do. And then down here, you guys are roughly even fights. You force them out a bit, they force you out a bit. They've gotten a kill, but it's only one. You're not hard losing these fights, but no one's catching mid. It could be the offlane doing it again, or it could be one of you guys rotating up, but someone needs to be catching this mid. And it shouldn't be the tank. It should be one of the DPS. Now at this point, they've got a dragon. Blaze is not going to clear this alone fast at all. And leave Chromie bot. Chromie can clear very safely. Okay, the dragon's coming down. And no, you're still missing mid. It's fine. You're just sitting behind wall. They're getting some siege. Blaze is stepping up a bit too far here. You're not gonna get punished for it, but if they had cooldowns up, if they were paying more attention, they could have punished you. Blaze just impales there, and you take a bunch of damage. That charge did nothing. You were looking to stun the Dragon Knight, but Dragon Knight's unstoppable. And this is why you W before you E, because you see there the wind up time on your charge is just too high. Like I assume you're looking for this Tychus, but he just steps out of the way during the charge up. Completely, I'm sure it was completely accidental. I don't think it was in a reaction, but that was my part earlier. The wind up time on your charge is just so long that people accidentally step out of the way, and now you probably die for this because you just charged right into the middle of their backline. Yep. Alright. At this point, Leo is catching mid now, because there's no kind of weird pause there. There's nothing for him to do top. See if Yrel rotates down for that. This camp's up. I like getting this camp. Again, don't need to use black arrows. Yeah. And Yrel's slow to rotate down, so you're losing this mid again. There is a way. There's a way to pull up. Maybe not on this client. Never mind. Alright. Free, I did that. But, basically, I am going to assume a lot of your XP loss here is, well, red team hasn't been catching mid-wave super reliably too, they've just been doing it more. And Blaze rotating up to catch this is not ideal. I mean, if you take one thing away from this, it should be this. You don't want your tank to rotate to catch XP, no matter how much wave clear they have, because your tank is leagues better with your team. The better thing to do is have one of your DPS rotate up, because they can clear, and you don't lose out on your tank. Healer, DPS, and tank is far more effective than double DPS and healer. Because the tank is the one that makes the fights, right? If like Raynor steps up from behind from this gate, A Blaze charge into even 1 DPS damage will heavily chunk or kill him. If he steps up behind this gate, Chromie has no one in place to hold no one to hold him in place for his skill shots, and he can just walk back. CC is the big thing that gets kills, not damage. Here you are getting some good siege. This new flank is gonna be brutal though. You actually get out, yeah. Okay, you live.
Prepare yourselves, heroes. The shrines will soon be active again.
Good Blaze flank, but no one's really in position to follow up on each charge you might get. Which is not either your fault. You guys were stuck back here, and Blaze can't come down through here, obviously. It's just awkward. And Blaze is going to take a bunch of damage. Luckily, Tyka's not in range to follow up, otherwise you lose much more of your health. Need to break that cocoon. Good. Tyka's is chunking your Blaze, though, yeah. Alright, so how could you play that team fight better? I think the number one thing is just Blaze rotated in the wrong place. You also knew that they had 10, so rotating aggressively like this to try and get this flank means you want to fight, and you don't want to fight down 10 unless you have some way to instantly win, which you do not. What was that charge? Basically, the big thing is you guys are split from your tank, and yeah, your tank creates the fights for you. Like putting oil out, the oil didn't really end up doing anything though. Oil, as a placement tank, oil's actually a main gauge because it lets you follow up with a charge. Yeah. The thing is pretty much Blaze went in on a flank, but the DPS wasn't able to follow that up, so you kind of just sat around the back line for a little bit, couldn't get out, and got killed. And of course, you all did that while they had 10. And then they turn that into a fort kill. I'll take a look at talents once you hit 10. I know I haven't been doing it over the past few levels, but we can look at that all at once. And Blaze catching the waves again is not ideal. Perhaps this was your plan. I don't really know what you guys' plans were for this game. Perhaps your plan was for Blaze to split and use Adrenaline Stip Back and Incinerator Gauntlets to clear the waves. I don't like that personally, because again, you guys have no tank. You can't really do anything without a tank. Theoretically at 10 you might be able to, but alright, we're hitting 10. I'll wait for everyone to pick their abilities and then I'll talk about talents a bit more. That was a good engage. Chromie missed her abilities though. Alright, everyone's got 10s. Let's take a look. Alright, Yrel, Agents of Light is an awkward talent because you have not been playing with your team for the entire game. This talent does nothing right now. The typical talents at this tier, you can take Aegis, but Aegis is a team fight talent, and you haven't been team fighting. So Divine City's at 7. My bad. Let's see, what are Yrel's level 4 talents? Right. Typically it's Hand of Freedom. With Hand of Freedom, you could actually outplay the Leo in a different way. Because Leo's typical trading pattern is he uses his Q to slow you and then uses his W because it's easy when you're slowed. You can cleanse that slow and then slice up the W. When you team fight, you can also use Hand of Freedom to perhaps help your allies out from a regular totem slow at level 16. Overall, it's not super big, but the slow cleanse isn't super big, but the 30% movement speed is huge. Level 7 Divine Steed is fine if you're going to rotate, which again, you haven't really been doing this game. You've been staying top, so Divine Steed doesn't really do anything. Better picks there. Holy Avenger would help you duel the Leoric, although I'm not even sure you can with that talent. Righteous Momentum is a nice boost to movement speed. Both have been picked. Righteous Momentum has been getting a bit more attention recently because it lets you run around the fights a lot sooner. Ardent Defender is fine. It's just standard Yrel 10. I already talked about I don't really like this Blaze Splitting play style, but these will help you clear waves faster. Nanomachine Coding is great. I was thinking about this as we went into the game. Nanomachine on Tychus is huge. Nanomachine on Raynor is huge. Even Nanomachine on Rhaegar is pretty good. They have 3 heavy auto attackers, and Nanomachine completely wrecks all of them. Bunker is great. Will help you versus Tychus Burst. This is a standard W build Chromie. Time Troubles is whatever. None of the 4s are super high impact. W1, W4. Slowing Sands is alright. If you do plan to have Blaze Splitting to clear waves, though, you need some sort of way to get fights with your double DPS combo. Slowing Sands doesn't do that. It would either be Temporal Loop here or Mind Control and Seal, either of which you picked. So what you've got here is your 2 DPS and a healer all sticking together, but not really able to do anything because they don't have the tools. For what I don't really like Party Mix. Subwoofer is alright. It's better peel. None of your 4s are super high impact anyway. Boombox is fine. I'll have to look at how you're using it. I haven't seen one go out yet. Sound Barrier is fine. Both 10s are fine. High 5 would definitely save you from the Anubarak engages. You can also stop a Cocoon with it if you're good. But Sound Barrier helps more into like Tychus Burst, and you can't high 5 Entomb, so I can see either. Okay. I'll wrap this a second. Might of the Banshee Queen, I talked about level 1. If you're going dive build, which is Eon 7, Eon 13, you Ian, apply a bunch of stacks, burst someone, then E out, or E to reset your Q and continue fighting. Might of Banshee Queen increases your spell power and attack speed, does more burst, great for that playstyle. If you're playing front to back, Overwhelming Affliction with this % damage, and just the constant slows is just consistent value. Overall, though, it's not too bad. Both of them are fine talents. Unstable Poison, Wave Clear, however, you haven't really made use of it. Because again, your 3 DPS have been sitting bot for most of the game. If you're not going to rotate, having marginally higher wave clear with Unstable Poison doesn't really do too much. Possession would help you push faster when you do get kills. Also, you have a Chromie already, which covers your wave clear and a Blaze. I don't think Unstable Poison is necessary for this game. Barb Shot, I would be surprised if you got value from this talent at all. It's notoriously very bad in most situations because you have to hit the same enemy with all 5 shots of your Q, which it just isn't reliable. Lost Soul is great sustained damage, and the other one, the E talent that applies 3 stacks, is good for burst damage. Even fighting front to back with the E talent is not bad because you can immediately E and start attacking versus having to auto attack 3 times and then you start hitting heroes. Barb Shot is just really the only use case for Barb Shot I found is when you plan to be hitting buildings most of the time because buildings don't move and you can pretty reliably hit all 5 shots there. But if you're going to hit heroes for even some relevant portion of the game, one of the other 2 will generally serve you better. And Wailing Arrow is definitely not a bad talent, but Mind Control would help you find those picks when Blaze is absent. Not going to talk about the other team, of course. They're not who I'm looking at. Again, no. As I mentioned at the start of this, don't get into the trap of, oh, I said this talent is bad. The only one I would really say to take to heart is Barb Shot. The rest of them all have use cases. Just because I've said they're bad. There are some people that get really die hard about, oh, you're playing this talent, you're trolling. Talents don't usually make the difference between winning and losing. If you just play good, that's the most important thing. Talents give you marginal benefits or downsides. But I'm not gonna say like, oh, you guys picked Barb Shot, this is the reason you lost. It's not a great talent, but it's in the grand scheme of things, it's not a huge deal. I just like to cover everything. What was... Wait, let's get back to the actual game, though. What was that D used? Alright. You got this engaged on the... Rainer, but unfortunately Chromie shot her stuff, expecting the Rainer to move back, so you got nothing out of that. And they're running away now. Why would you... There's no reason to use your trait here. You're not under any threat. And you're actually running away from people. Your trait is a very powerful thing in Blaze, because it means when you charge in, you can activate it, and suddenly the fact that you just charged headfirst into multiple members of the enemy team is significantly less important, because you have 40 armor and are very hard to kill. Using it now does nothing. With this Anubarak rotate, you are 4v3 here. You did just use your stun here. Chromie gets some damage. I would just oil this gate here. Oh, they charged in. Because Tychus is rotating down, of course. If you That's actually amazing. Time triples value. You just give your teams 30 armor and reduced 15 armor off the noob. Unfortunately, I don't think much is going to happen from it. Sylvanas should be fine here. I heard an E go out. You should just be able to teleport away from the minigun. Oh, it's an awkward place. This bunker is going out when 2 of your team members are already trying to retreat. There seems to be some sort of miscommunication here. I assume you thought you guys were going to fight. These two were getting pressured by the Tychus and wanted to get out. Team goes out. That's a good wailing arrow in the Slowing Sands. Does Blaze have a charge to follow up on this? He does. If you just go around the corner and charge into this, you might be able to get some kills here. Yep, there's a charge going out. Great charge. Unfortunately, your team is already running away. And it seems like a miscommunication. If you guys focus this, I think you get some kills. But at the same time, Chromie's low, and you guys seem to want to disengage. So it seems like another communication issue. Great damage from the Chromie, though. Tychus is basically asked to back. You don't have your tap here, which is unfortunate. But Chromie has the advantage over Rainer of being able to still do stuff from a pretty safe range. Good stun. Unfortunately, not coming out. It seems to be a problem. Blaze, despite how inconsistent its E is, does seem to be landing most of those, but for some reason or another, there's just not damage ready. Standard tank DPS communication in this case. Tank should always make sure DPS is in range to follow up before they go in, and make sure abilities are up. The easiest way to do that is you identify the relevant abilities for follow-up. In this case, Chromie W and Q, Sylv W and Q, but less of a priority is mostly Chromie's abilities. And the relevant player just calls whenever those abilities are up or not. Tank should also be saying when they're looking for an engage. And DPS should respond with, alright, I'm ready, or no, I'm not, I'm ready. And just in general, if your abilities aren't relevant to use, don't use them. Like, if you guys are planning to have sort of a burst play style, where Tychus or Blaze charges, Chromie dumps abilities, someone dies, Chromie don't use abilities when you guys might charge soon. On the DPS's side, then don't use abilities, but also make sure you're near enough to your tank. It's a two-way street. Tank should make sure DPS is in range and is ready to follow up. DPS should make sure that they are in range and ready to follow up. If neither party is paying attention, you get stuff like this, where you get that charge right in the middle of 4 people, but there's no abilities up, or you don't, or people aren't ready for it, or whatever. He is throw a W at him. He just activated a minigun. You reduce his auto attack speed a bunch. He can't do anything. You guys win this. Do you have oil up? Ah, you don't. Throw oil at him as soon as it's up. Alright, you guys are backing up. That's also valid. You guys got chunked. In general, you do want to save your W for Tychus, because you took your nanomachine coating, which is huge value if it's on people when they're hitting your team. Throwing it out, alright. Throwing it out like this, when, even if they do hit that slow, you guys are all out here, you just use an ability that does nothing. Alright, at this point you guys have to basically give the shrine. And again, you've been missing mid this entire time. And Yrel's just been losing battle top. I'll repeat these 2 points when I send this to Kaden. And at the end of this video, but Yrel needs to do something else. You guys should not miss mid lane.
Now it burns.
Like, there's definitely teamfight optimizations you can do here. Biggest one being, of course, you're not killing people off the charge. But micro is a lot harder to fix than macro mistakes. There's a million ways to play team fights, but just looking at this game as a whole, Yrel is a non-factor, and you're missing mid, and those are both very easy to fix. You can fix them at the same time. And this D doesn't really do anything because no one is focusing you. Dragon does some damage. It's not really worth using your main defensive cooldown for. Charging the Dragon, again, does nothing. You don't even have the level 7 that throws oil where you charge. So charging the Dragon just is marginal extra damage that uses your main threatening tool. Whenever they see a charge go out, that means they can step up more, because how are you going to punish them? You don't have time loop, you don't have mind control, you don't have charge. There's no threat to them. Let's push up talents. You've got timeout, excellent, good talent. Nothing more to say to that. Focusing Dragon, which is fine. Where did Blaze end up going? He went top to try and help, but you guys aren't gonna kill York. Neither of you has the damage to burst him down, and he can just E out. Going to help mid would be much better, because they are kind of getting run over. I guess we won't talk about that Q. That E did nothing. Throw a W out that I assume you meant to W before you eat, which is great. Unfortunately, you horribly missed. I think it was a bit too long range. And if you weren't planning to W before you E to slow them, the W does nothing because, again, they're not hitting anyone. You've got no nanomachine coding value. And then you raw E, Ranger walks to the side. If you kept walking up, you could have gotten a great E on them here. You can throw out a W. You can throw down a W to slow them, to let your team hit them more. Bunker does nothing here. Bunker is a defensive cooldown. If no one's, they're all running away here. Bunker doesn't. They're not trying to hit your team. Bunker doesn't prevent any abilities, and it doesn't enable your team to do anything. Even if Bunker doesn't like directly block an ability, like you're taking damage and you bunker to stop it. Just bunker when your team is fighting is great, because the team can dip in, throw some Qs out, get free armor, fight, dip in, dip out. That's the real power of bunker, just giving your entire team free armor. But here, neither of those apply. They're not throwing anything at you that you need to dodge, and they're running away, so your team can't dip in and out with bunker to keep fighting them. Aw, that's a good ancestral. Unfortunate. Good slow, nice. Another E, kill. Good boop, good slow, great, alright. Good chase and good kills. Make sure not to get killed by the Stychus, but you should be fine here. Okay, greeting for more is interesting. Alright, so you got a couple kills. What should you be doing? Someone needs to deal with this. I would say Chromie. You have your camp up, that's kind of a passive play. What is probably the better option would be to have Chromie go down to deal with this, and then you have your Silverblaze Lucio push either mid or bot with black arrows. on one hand, you're mid, so it's easier to immediately push with that. On the other hand, bot's slightly higher priority because you're spending most of your time there. And if you can equalize this, that means you have a much easier time there. If you don't want to push, you can also go take this bruiser camp. Again, slightly passive, but not terrible. And Yrel's just kind of losing top. As a reminder, what is the better play here is to just accept that you're going to lose top point, clear this wave, clear mid wave, repeat, free up space for your team. Like, there's not really any easy tip I can give you to winning versus Leoric. A lot of 1v1 1v1s in the offlane basically just come down to skill, which can't be taught. You just have to practice. The Yrel versus Leo matchup especially is extremely hard for the Yrel, unless you're at a high level of play. So just accept you lose. There's no shame in losing the matchup, and just do something else. All right, you have your blaze clearing, and you're going for camp. This is probably the most passive play you could do. And your blaze isn't here. Your Chromie could be clearing just as well, but also it doesn't matter because you're not fighting. And you also just let them get this fort. And you don't need 2 DPS to clear. I guess you can't really stop this. Tiger just literally walks up and throws a grenade. But if you were doing something more aggressive, they wouldn't be able to do that. If you were pushing mid, they can't do that. If you're pushing bot, they might not feel like they have the time to do that. They probably will both rotate bot to try and stop you. The big thing was you got 2 kills, which is great, but you didn't get any value out of them. This camp, unless you hard push with it, doesn't do anything, and I believe Tyke is just about to clear it for free. Now, these guys are stepping up, but you can't do anything because your blades was off clearing this wave. Even if you have, theoretically, double the damage because you have 2 DPS, it doesn't matter if you're not doing any damage because you can't find a fight, because your tank isn't there. You get this stun him. Nice, nice. This should be a kill. Excellent. Really good. Fine. W, E, charge, burst. Amazing. And this guy's stunned too. This guy's slow too, and he has no charge out because he already charged in. You can keep going. And you know what? Rhaegar doesn't have Ancestral up because he used it already. Last fight. Alright, and you basically got nothing. Just fine. That cocoon does nothing. Great. You just use the cocoon, turn back, clear the... Oh! Good slowing sands. I don't know what that key was. Good bunker. Oh. Hey. I like to see Yrel rotate here. Can help the team with the team fight. I would have caught mid-wave personally, but I don't hate this at all. Maybe you can start getting use out of your level 4 talent. And you're getting use out of your Divine Steed too. Nice. Talent got some value now. Unfortunately, you guys kind of came in, took a bunch of damage and nothing. So let's rewind that. So you could have played that better. So alright, so they cocoon this Lucio. I would just turn to break him out first of all. Raw charge and doesn't really do anything because you miss it because you can just walk around. Throwing out a W. Did you have W up? You did have a W up. Throw the W at the gate and then charge on it. Then charge into it. This slowing sands is great. What abilities you have? You have bunker up soon, which I believe you will pop basically as soon as it's up. Chromie missing this cube is devastating, but I'm sure you can already see that. Sylv also not hitting this. This is just an error in communication. Sylv wants to get Lucio out of the cocoon. You guys want to go for this kill. Either of those could be done very easily, but the fact that you're splitting both means Sylv's getting him out of the cocoon, but you guys are going for this kill, and you don't get the kill because Sylv's not hitting him. And in fact, you guys lose a ton of health, and can't really take advantage of the Tychus kill. This is good. This is a good bunker, and if your team steps up more, and you come out of the bunker, throw some stuff, go back in, get healed, you guys can take this well. Sylv should also be tossing black arrows out. Sylv doesn't have black arrows because she used them where? Alright, so if you didn't know, your Black Arrows doesn't do anything in combat. It only stuns minions on elite mercenaries and structures. So this use of Black Arrows, in fact, does not do anything and makes it so you can't push in a few seconds here. If you Black Arrows the wall now, your Blaze isn't taking a bunch of damage, and you can continue to push here. Oh, I think your Blaze dies here. That's unfortunate. Never mind. I saw this already. You get out. Alright. But Yrel stays in a bit too long, takes a bunch of damage. So, you did get a great Tychus kill, but unfortunately played the rest of the team fight pretty badly. Two biggest things: still don't use Black Arrows when it's not necessary. That way you could disable the wall, and you guys need to communicate on what the game plan is. Do you want to break Lucio out of the cocoon, or do you want to go for this kill? You can't do both at the same time. Theoretically you can, but it's a lot easier if you're all on the same page and all focusing the same target.
It won't be long before the shrines are
If you do those two things, if you get that noob kill, and if you Black Arrows, you can get a bunch of push here. These guys can't do anything to you, especially with the Yrel rotating down. You guys could have easily gotten that entire fort. Yeah, you guys are just back, it's fine. Nothing to do right now. Everyone just back, get full resources. I don't hate this camp. Not much else to do at the moment. Anyway, something spicy you could theoretically do, if you really do want to win this top point, is send Chromie up here. She can clear the waves real quick and pressure. Leo can't really do anything to her because she just has so much better range than him. She can just poke him down the entire time, especially since he has Ossian Renewal, which is lesser sustain in lane. She can just poke him down. She won't be able to contest the point for a while, but eventually he'll just lose enough health that he has to leave, and she gets the point for free. Alright, answering this. They're not threatening too much down here, so this is fine. You guys can potentially go on him, although he's just going to E out. Uh-oh, watch out for the noob. Alright, nice escape. They just used an ult. You just disengage here, there's nothing to do. Just go down, clear this, grab this. You gotta camp pushing up here. Yrel should be careful. Especially now you see the Tychus here. You just... What was that? I'm going to assume that was a misclick. Because that, otherwise, that Ardent Defender did absolutely nothing. And you just used a 120-second CD for nothing. And then you jumped in knowing that there's a Tychus there. If you jump in, get minigunned, and then use Ardent Defender, that's great. Right now, it does nothing. And you, in fact, just die. Yikes. I'm gonna assume that was a myth click. Alright. Closing the dragon here is fine. Wailing Arrow doesn't really do anything here. Wailing Arrow is a teamfight tool. You guys aren't teamfighting. Your Blaze is in his bunker hitting this Dragon Knight. If Blaze goes in, then you Wailing Arrow, that's great. You get a couple kills. As it is right now, you just waste another cooldown. Damage, good chase. Yeah, you can chase that because there's no noob around.
Red team has destroyed a fort.
Again, it shouldn't be the tank splitting.
His strength was never yours to keep.
Lucio tries to chase, realizes no one there. Good decision to fall back. As this camps up, this is really risky, and you see this immediately by the fact that a noob's there. Okay, so when you see the noob there, you need to either make a decision: do you want to fight or do you want to run away? Because You guys see the noob. These two are running away. These two continue to go in. If you want to fight, then engage on the noob because he's super far up. And if you engage on these guys, the noob will just cause havoc. If you want to run away, these guys shouldn't be going in. The decision seems to be run away because these guys are still running. Y'all just gonna get destroyed. Yeah. Okay, you get... No, you don't even get that. You do get it. Okay. So far you've gone 1 for 1. This isn't terrible. Blaze, can't keep going. You need to focus on the same targets. I like the zoning oil. Good ping on that. Oh, you missed the Blaze with that. He dies. Alright, yeah. Blaze, you can just throw like a zoning oil here, but you only need to be focusing on the same target. You can't step up past where your DPS can follow up, otherwise you're not creating space, you're just making yourself a target. If there's no threat behind where you're walking, it doesn't mean anything. And it's a symbiotic relationship between the tank and the DPS. The tank creates space for the DPS to work, but the DPS create the threat of the tank. And a tank by itself doesn't do anything. DPS by itself can't do anything. Also, despite going 2 for 2, you end up giving this, which is, at that point, not much you can do. Good that you back down instead of getting killed more. Take a quick break to go over talents real quick. You've got Cold Embrace here and Evasive Fire. Cold Embrace is not, neither of these are bad talents. Cold Embrace isn't awful. It's better for Burst, which I guess if that's what you're playing for, good on you. Remorseless gives you more attack range to make you do things safer. E13 doesn't really do anything without E7. Invasive Fire is actually really good and very underpicked because it makes your kiting, your chasing, your running away a lot better. Altogether is basically the only 13 talent for Lucio. Rejuvenescia is better burst healing. Generally, the Lucio 16 pick is up the frequency, I believe it's called, where your auto attacks reduce the cooldown of Fury. It makes you be able to spam healing a lot more, and you become a monster healing. Rejuvenescia is if you're worried about allies getting burst, you need that healing now. Yeah, already said it's fine. Shifting Sands, not great, but not terrible. I don't play Chromie too much. I don't really have an in-depth explanation for this. Collision Course has been a pretty good Blaze talent for a while. Let me check the Blaze 13s. There may be a better option for main tank Blaze there. Even if there is, Collision Course is fine. No, there's not really. Thermal Protection is fine. Yeah, Juggernaut Plane doesn't really do much. They're not that much spell damage. You could arguably go Heat Treatment because Thermal Protection's armor doesn't do anything against Tychus, but more armor and more charges aren't an issue at all. Yrel hasn't picked the 13 or 16 yet, despite you being level 16 for a good bit of time now. That's kind of an issue. Did they, like, disconnect or something? Are you playing with a bot? If not, I mean absolutely no disrespect, but please pick your talents. Alright. I don't think you get this Leo kill because again you don't really have an engage.
Power gathers within the shrines. Seize them and become the new Dragon Knight.
Ooh, this is going to end horribly, isn't it? Throw an ability at this bush. As a tank, especially one that, like, oh no, you're about to die. Especially one like Blaze that has such spammable abilities in his W and Q. Always just throw abilities at bushes that teams might be in. This triangle here is notorious for being a great ambush spot because it's a big rotation path. And there's 3 bushes here everyone can sit in to get kills. Oh, you're backing up. Nice. You should be fine here. They actually positioned really badly in this bush. When they saw you stepping up, a noob should have moved up here to be able to stun you immediately, and these 2 should have moved up to be able to follow up. The fact that a noob had moved up late means you just have to walk away free. Going in here is really sketchy. You should, because both of your DPS just moved down to bot lane. Alright, and you're out at this moment. Even throw an oil to slow them. If you charge the other way, you're fine. Charging in, you only have your healer here. Both of your DPS who can do things are down here. Even your Yrel is up here. You die here pretty much every time. The bunker makes you survive longer, but I mean DPS isn't even rotating up right now. If you do want to fight, DPS should have been rotating up as soon as they realized you charged in. Wait, do you actually live? That's insane. There's no way. All right, they trolled this hard. That was a free kill on you. Don't go in again. You barely got out with your life last time. Your Sylvanas is still down here. You do not have a team fight here. You're going in. There is 1, 2, 3 of your allies here. Your Yrel is top, your Sylv is bottom. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 enemies here. You don't win this fight, especially down 2 levels. And I think Chromie just steps up too far and gets charged. Yeah, Chromie... Yeah, both of you guys are way too far up here. That's just immediate Chromie kill. This is just kind of knowing when you want to fight. Tank wants DPS, DPS wants tank. Work together. That'll be another point I will throw into my end summary. Alright, at this point, you're still not 20. Neither team is 20. So, if you can find a pick here, it would be great. Like, you just saw... I don't think you actually saw Tychus there. Yrel is unfortunately... Let's take a look at this. Could you figure out that they're coming? Let's throw in... Get your... Alright, there's the Yrel point of view. Alright. So... They're fine here. They just disappear off the map. Yeah, so you don't see them rotating up. But the fact that everyone is now off the map and you are miles away from safety. Oh, and the fact that you see Rhaegar here. It should be immediate. Yeah. I assume you just die here. Nice ult, although arguably a waste because you're basically dead either way. There's no way you get out here. Yeah. Yeah, actually you got further than I thought. But, yeah. In general, if you are alone, miles away from any safety, and the entire enemy team disappears off the map, odds are they're coming for you. Especially as an offlaner, you need to be constantly watching the map for those sorts of things. Assume that when enemies aren't showing, there is a possibility they're coming for you, and you should prepare accordingly. There also wasn't really anything for you to do here. Getting the shrine is cool, but not worth the risk of you dying. Doing this camp is ballsy. Yeah, you backed off. Good. Stepping up this far is sketchy. Oh, we should... Alright, so if this Leo is paying attention, he entombs like 3 of you here. Even without follow-up, he does a massive amount of damage to you. He's not paying attention, and he just kind of keeps doing the camp. Doesn't try to escape, doesn't try to go on you, just assumes that his team that is 20 miles away will be able to help him, and he dies, so good find there. Alright. You do have 5v4, you're down 20. Aw. That was a good try.
The Dragon Knight shall reduce.
So you did WE, but the oil didn't land. So they're not slowed, so they just dodged your E. Unfortunate. Even with the WE making your E more reliable, you still have to hit your E. Okay, that's a... Did the whaling arrow actually hit there? I don't see any silenced indicators. No, whaling arrow completely missed. Even if it hit, it wasn't really going to do anything because, again, you're not really fighting here. You're all sitting behind a fort hitting the dragon. Oh, this is auto-type build of the Organ Machine Chromie gets huge value if you land it. You're actually burning this dragon pretty high. Alright, Charge here. Your Sylv is all the way over here. Your Chromie is here, but I don't think they have... Actually, is that your Chromie? I don't think that's your Chromie. No, that's your healer. Okay. Your Sylv is here. Your Chromie's here. This charge does nothing because there's 0 follow-up to it. And now you have to burn your trait to escape. That's a big defensive cooldown. Aw, dang. That's weird. That looks funny. I would not chase this either, because you're still down 20, and their Leoric's about to come up. I'm gonna make a prediction here. You guys are chasing. Their Leoric's gonna respawn. They're gonna turn this very quickly, wipe you all, and end the game. Don't even need a Leoric, they just get a massive 3-man knockup. Enter another 3-man knockup. Lucio dies. Sylv gets cocooned. It's a big slow, yeah. And then I assume they just run it down bot from here. There's no... You might barely make it out. Oh, good stasis, good stasis. Okay. Nice escape. And... Oh, they just... Yeah. All right. Okay. So I will say this all when I send this to Kanan as well, but few big things to work on. First of all, on the offlane perspective, you need to be doing something on the map. It's completely possible to 1v1 most of the game on Dragon Shire. I don't particularly like it because top point isn't as high prio. But if you are doing that, if you're losing, don't keep doing that. This is just a general HOTS thing. If what you're doing isn't working, you need to do something else. If Leo beats Yrel 1v1, don't fight him. Go do something else on the map, whether that be rotating mid to catch that so, go try and take a camp, go rotate to help your team. Do something to get value. Make sure you're not missing mid-wave there for most of that game. It costs you a lot. Comparatively, not really, because the enemy team was also missing mid, but you could have gotten a lot more XP that game. Actually, let me take a look. Take a chance to check talents. Withering Barrage is fine. I think you're just going match the picture queue, which generally match the picture builds aren't effective. I'd advise against just blindly picking the same kind of talent each tier. Withering Barrage has a fine sustained talent. The blink is always great. The Welling Arrow upgrade is actually okay now since they fixed a bug with it. It can really lock someone down for a long time. If Blaze like stuns someone and you throw a wailing arrow at them, they're silenced for 5 seconds and take a bunch of burst damage. House Party is fine, just general more healing. Piercing Sands is a great capstone. Neither of you two took a 20, but Freos, you hit 20 while you were about to lose the game, so whatever. You all actually took talents though. Velen Chosen is the fine sustained talent. There is a school of thought there that you go Repentance, the extra slow on E because it takes a while to stack Velen Chosen and even longer to get value from it, but Repentance is fine. Divine Favor is not generally picked. It's kind of a weird talent. Usually the Yrel 16 is the W talent that gives percent damage and armor reduction. The fun thing about that talent is you don't have to fully charge your W. Even just tapping it gives the full benefits of that talent, and it's great for finding kills. Quick overview of those talents. Okay, back to the summary. So I said about the offlane, catching mid, and as an extension of that, I would recommend every game isolating who a 3-man is. Wherever your tank, your healer, and the DPS that can have the most impact with the tank, and who is worse at going off alone. Sometimes neither is good going off alone, in which case you generally want to 4-man rotate, or someone does it anyway. But on basically every map, you will encounter situations where your offlaner is stuck doing something. Your 3-man doesn't want to rotate because they're doing something in that lane, but there's still a lane unsoaked. In that case, you will want to have someone go catch it. On map like Tomb, that's not always the case. The map's small enough that you can usually rotate, but it's always good on any map to determine beforehand who will catch that wave if it needs to be catched. Caught. Right, so catching mid wave, doing stuff in the off lane, learn when to figure out when to take a fight and make sure you're all on the same page. There were many times that game where you guys took a fight where you were down a talent or down a person, down multiple people, or even if it was theoretically a good fight, half your team wasn't on the same page. And there's that symbiotic relationship between your tank and your DPS. The DPS needs a tank there to be able to do something. They can't make proactive plays unless they have either like some sort of double support set up that literally allows them to run it down and not be punished. Or more commonly, they need a tank to go in there first and set someone up to be hit. The tank also doesn't have any threat without the DPS. The tank can go in and hit someone all he wants, but if there's no follow-up behind it, those abilities mean nothing. And both the tank and the DPS should be constantly communicating to make sure they're both ready, they're both on the same page, and that when the tank goes in, the DPS is ready to follow up. That's pretty much it as far as what I noticed. Make sure your offlane is doing something, make sure you're catching all the ways to soak, and splitting up your team accordingly, and make sure your tank and your DPS are communicating, and that overall you are taking effective fights. You never want to team fight unless you have some sort of advantage. With obviously the biggest thing is like you have a talent to your advantage, or a member of the enemy team is dead, but it could even be like we have a big wave pushing in opposite lanes, so the longer we hold these guys here, the bigger they are, the better we are, or we have more cooldowns than they do, or we are stronger at this stage of the game than they are. Biggest example being like if they have a pre-4 variant, you can do whatever you want. They are lacking a hero. It's a very abstract concept, but make sure there's some advantage and something to be gained from the fight. I've been rambling for about an hour and a half now. This turned into something a lot longer than I thought it would. I will get this over to Caden. I hope I wasn't too rambly and you can get something useful out of it. If any of you have any questions or clarifications, complaints, whatever, feel free to talk to me. I am happy to discuss in detail. But For now, I'm going to end it here, and I hope this was helpful.